might associate this rather fashionable piece of headgear with the uniform traditionally worn by civil servants or bankers in the city. So you may be surprised to learn that it was actually designed with country living in mind and originates from one of the UK's most rural counties. But which one? We'll find out in just a moment. On today's show, we're helping a couple find a home full of character in the east of England. And at first glance, some of our houses fail to light their fire.
At the moment, it seems rather dark.
But then the mystery house gets them all hot under the collar.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, definite winner.
Today I'm in Norfolk in the village of Holcombe, where in 1849 it's said that William Cook became the first proud owner of the bowler hat. Now the story goes that Cook asked a London-based hat company to come up with a design of a slim-fitting, protective piece of headgear that his gamekeepers could wear whilst out shooting on his nearby estate. Milliners Thomas and William Bowler came up with this design that was then tested when Cook jumped upon it, and when it remained undamaged, he duly paid 12 shillings for it, thus launching an iconic piece of headgear that's graced the head of many a banker and countryman since. It looks pretty good today, doesn't it? Tucked up on the eastern corner of the country, Norfolk is the fourth largest county in England and shares its borders with Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire and Suffolk. This county boasts one of Britain's largest expanses of unspoilt coastline, spanning over 90 miles, which is home to many popular coastal resorts and beautiful golden sandy beaches. And if you're looking to view the countryside at a more leisurely pace, then the Norfolk Broads offer a great way to see the watery landscape. With 63 broads as well as 7 rivers, these waterways stretch over 300 kilometres and are home to a setting that's full of wildlife. The average cost of a detached house here in Norfolk is £215,000. That's around £36,000 below the national figure. So it's fair to say this county represents relatively good value, especially if you head towards the southwest and inland. But head east and the picture does seem to change somewhat. Head towards Broads villages like Wroxham and Horning and you can expect to pay an extra 15% more than the equivalent property in a non-Broads location. And staying with that waterside theme, go up to the North Norfolk coast to Burnham Market and prices there are around 40% more than the county average. But no matter where you look, it's fair to say there's a huge array of architectural styles to please the eye. Norfolk features an array of characteristic country styles, such as attractive thatched properties made from local reed. Once known as the poor man's roof, today it's quite the opposite. While a detached 2-bedroom home is upwards of £230,000, a 4-bedroom property could easily be nearer the £1 million mark. Since the 11th century, another familiar sight towering above the flat landscape has been the windmill. There are 3 types of windmill found across England, and all of them can be seen in Norfolk. Many of these former working mills remain open to the public, but if you fancy owning your very own piece of history, then you'll need deep pockets, as converted mills could cost in excess of £1.4 million. So a wonderful range of architectural styles here in Norfolk, but what kind of property are today's buyers after? Time to meet them and find out. John, a management consultant, and Sally, a retired charity director, married after a whirlwind romance and soon set up home near Camberley in Surrey. But 7 years on, their changing family circumstances and fading love of their property has led them to seek a new way of life.
Well, we moved here particularly for the children. They've now flown the nest, and one lives in Thailand and one lives in London, so really there's no reason for us to be here anymore. We don't have any roots or ties here.
And it's pretty nondescript, all the houses from the outside of one of 3 different styles. It's not where we want to be.
They've decided to move to East Anglia as it's a place that holds many fond memories.
We want to move to Norfolk because I've spent many sort of happy family holidays there. John knows it a little bit as well, and there's good value for money in the sort of property that we're looking for.
So value for money is high on the agenda, but the same can't be said for one of Norfolk's most popular attractions.
Don't want to go on the coast because there is coastal erosion there, and you quite often see properties disappearing into the sea.
Well, let's hope we can keep our head above water, although with our buyers' differing opinions, that could be easier said than done.
I will be looking at it from a very analytical point of view and have my own checklist in my mind. Sally will have a much more gentler approach to it.
I just love property. I love looking at property. I'm a daughter of an estate agent. I'm very, very nosy. I will just get very excited, and I will probably fall in love with at least one of the properties.
One last thing to pinpoint, and that's the finances.
Our budget is £425,000 maximum. That would really have to include any work that needed to be done.
John and Sally want us to concentrate our search in the central area of the county, particularly around the town of Dereham. They're hoping they can get good value for money there, and importantly, they're far enough away from the coast to keep John happy. I caught up with them in the beautiful Norfolk countryside to discover a little bit more about what they're looking for. So welcome both of you to Norfolk. You're a long way from home.
Yeah.
Why have you chosen Norfolk?
Norfolk is an area where we've looked previously, and you look for something you want, and we're particularly interested in a property which has got character.
Now, you're talking about character property. How big is this character property?
Well, it doesn't have to be too big. We only really need, I would say, 3 bedrooms.
So, outside space, are we looking for land, or land may be available at a later date?
If it had it, it would be lovely.
That all sounds quite doable at the moment. It's, you know, it's a beautiful part of the world, and we will see some fantastic houses. So let's
Brilliant.
start.
OK.
John and Sally have a maximum of £425,000 to spend on their new home. But ideally, they'd like to keep some money aside to spruce it up with some brand new furniture. All in all, they want a minimum of 3 bedrooms, a large kitchen diner, a property full of character, and a good-sized garden which is still easy to maintain. We found 3 great houses to show our buyers, but before I tell them the price, I'll be asking them to have a guess at it first. As ever, our final offering is the Mystery House, a home they would not normally have looked at on paper, but will certainly challenge their desire for character. For our first house, we're heading to the village of Goodeston, a picturesque location around 40 miles west of Norwich. John and Sally have asked for a more rural setting, but not too far removed from the local community, and we think this location is perfect. The village is surrounded by some stunning scenery, which can be enjoyed while sipping a pint at the local pub. But for now, let's hope we serve up a real treat with the first property, a characterful 18th century Georgian house. This is the first property we're going to have a look at.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Isn't it just?
It is lovely.
Like a lot of Georgian properties, there were show-offs, the people that own these places. So, beautiful facade. The back you'll see is flint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful slate roof here. And the back of the roof is Norfolk napping, which you'll see. So the whole facade of the house is the most impressive side that you see from the village.
It is impressive, isn't it?
It's great, isn't it?
Very good.
But there's a lot of history attached to this property.
Yeah.
You like it?
Very nice from the outside.
Yeah.
Want to see what it's like inside.
I think you'll be equally impressed. Follow me.
Okay.
So, excellent reactions to our first property from John and Sally, and I think this home will really make an impact on our buyers. Right then, in you come. Look at this staircase.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Better than a 1970s plank.
Which we've got. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like true Georgian properties, very grand entrance. You know, they're showing off, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's a wonderful music room. Let's have a
Right.
quick peek into the living room. Original floorboards, as you'll see.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? This is a good sized room as well for us. We don't want anything necessarily too big.
Mm-hmm.
There's only the 2 of us, an occasional sort of family and guests. So this is just nice. It's nice and cosy.
Now, obviously, period property. Great thing about Georgian properties is there's plenty of ceiling height. I mean, Space-wise and sitting height and all that, you're fine?
Yeah.
You were ducking, I think, your head through that doorway.
Quite likely, but whether that's psychological or eyesight needed is another question.
Probably habit, yeah.
No problems with that. Slightly taller than traditional 8-foot ceilings,
Yeah.
which I like.
Great.
And it gives you a nice, warm, open atmosphere. And with a fire in here, it'd be intimate, but you won't feel crowded. I can imagine it'd be nice and warm, but very nice indeed.
Great, OK. Let me squeeze past and I'll show you the
Yeah.
kitchen's up next, I think. Well, that's the seal of approval for the living room, and our next room has the potential to invigorate them even further. Right then. So look, kitchen. What are we thinking?
It's a nice shape. Mm-hmm. For us, it's important. We've got a table.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a big table. There's only two of
You
us.
always definitely want to dine in your kitchen then?
We do now. We do a lot of cooking, so it's nice to sort of sit and just read the paper and work in the kitchen as well. But I like the look of it very much. What do you think?
I think that it is a little bit tight for what we wanted as far as space is concerned, because when we're sort of doing things in the kitchen, it could get a little bit congested.
That's fair enough. Obviously, you've seen the living room with an equal-sized dining room the other side of the stairs. Then behind you there's another office.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
So if you really wanted to, you could maybe put a steel across and then push it out that way.
I don't know whether...
Maybe next door becomes a pantry.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, listen, this is a whistle-stop tour,
Yep.
as you know.
Cool.
Let's take a look at a master bedroom.
OK.
John and Sally's mood has dipped a little in here, which is a shame. However, also on this floor is a large utility and cloakroom. Time to check out the upstairs and see if we can raise their spirits. I think it's quite grand, isn't it? Even the landing area here, you get more space, don't you?
Yeah.
Nice and light, isn't it?
It is very pretty.
Now, the master bedroom, this one here, what's your thoughts?
Lovely. Plenty big enough for us. I always look for storage because we do have rather a lot of clothes and stuff like that.
Now, the second bedroom,
Yeah.
it's got two singles in it, you'll see it later on.
Yeah.
Similar size to this. This is a master, clearly, because you've got an ensuite.
Yeah,
Right. A nice
which is good.
double shower.
Cool.
Lovely.
It's a nice
It's beautiful.
room.
OK, well, good. This
Yes.
seems to be going very well.
Yeah.
You can come back into this house, obviously, in a few moments and have a good look
Yeah.
around. Let's go down to the garden and start thinking about price in your mind.
OK.
Cool. And keep ducking your head. There are two more bedrooms on this floor, one of which is currently being used as a dining room. There's also a generous-sized bathroom. On the outside of the property, there's that front lawn that we saw on the approach to the entrance, and to the rear is a characterful walled garden. It also contains a little surprise that could be the icing on the cake. So just through that small utility into your, well, walled garden, I suppose.
Right.
Now then, it's a fairly modest-sized garden, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty and it's peaceful.
Now, this building here,
Yeah.
interesting, isn't it? Well, that side, just there, that would have been where they keep all their coal and fuel.
Yeah.
Just there, for the horse, and next door, for the for the trap or the cart.
Yeah.
But it's, maybe office, maybe
Storage.
studio.
Yeah. It's got some character to it as well, hasn't it?
But that's what you asked for. You asked for character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's got
And that's
that.
what this house gives you, isn't it?
It's got lots of
Indeed.
character.
So how much do you think this house is on the market for?
I would imagine that it is for 40.
OK.
The figure 415 jumped into my mind, and I don't know where from.
You want to stick with it?
Yeah.
OK. The house is on the market for offers above £380,000.
That is surprising.
Within
That is
your
surprising.
budget,
Yeah.
you could get a Georgian property
Yeah.
with change.
Yeah.
Go back inside the house. Hopefully you won't find fault, but this is your
No.
opportunity. All right?
Good.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Help yourselves.
Thanks.
Cracking start. Now, they tell me they've never looked at a Georgian property before. And that's probably because Georgian properties would normally be way out of their price range. But this, it's a fairly modest-sized property for the period, but it's a cracker, isn't it? This magnificent example of Georgian architecture is on the market for offers over £380,000. so it's well within their £425,000 budget. With change in their pocket, they could not only furnish the house, but expand the kitchen or even convert one of the outbuildings. It has a kitchen diner, a cosy sitting room with ingle nook fireplace, 4 double bedrooms including one with an ensuite, plenty of character, and outbuildings with the potential for conversion.
We'd never considered Georgian properties before. I don't know quite why now we've actually seen the property, but lovely, beautiful, and very solid and obviously well built and nice proportions as well. So no, I'm very impressed.
I like the symmetry, but I also like the quirkiness. All the rooms are very, very good, very nicely decorated, nice, open, airy, but also cosy feeling. One reservation is the kitchen, which I don't know if that would quite work for us.
All done inside, upstairs and downstairs?
Yeah, very happy.
Very elegant, isn't it?
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful house, yeah.
Good. Onward and upward.
Okay.
Norfolk's expansive landscape is dotted with market towns and villages that sit alongside the county's rural heritage. But even today, the region's agricultural industry continues to thrive. In the hamlet of Great Ellingham, just outside Dereham, is a farm which over the past 23 years has steadily built its reputation as a leading producer of Norfolk asparagus. Andy Allen is the farm's owner and the chairman of the Asparagus Growers Association. As John and Sally are keen foodies, earlier in the week we arranged for them to visit Andy's farm to get a taste of this wonderful local produce during its short 8-week season.
Welcome to a cold, wet Norfolk asparagus field. Sorry, couldn't do anything about that bit.
Thank you very much.
Certainly in Norfolk, I can trace people growing asparagus back to over 100 years ago. It tends to suit the lighter, free-draining soils. This is kind of borderline. This is reasonably light for this particular area. Obviously, the lighter the soil, the quicker it warms up in the spring. And it's all about temperatures.
Asparagus will only thrive in soil that has a minimum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. But if conditions are perfect, it can grow 6 inches a day. The average, though, is 1 or 2 inches in 24 hours.
So how long does it take from planting the bulb to actually harvesting it?
3 years. We don't cut anything until year 3.
About how many sticks would you get off each crown, Andy?
It would vary, but probably between 10 and 15 spears.
Right.
Off one crown through the season. Obviously, you have to keep cutting it to stimulate the bud growth. So once you cut one piece, it will start to throw another one. There we go. That's a bit about the background of growing asparagus. What we'll do now is we go into the middle of the field. We might find something for you to cut.
Great.
Cool. We're looking for the spears which is high enough to cut. The knife here has got a mark on it, so when you stand the knife next to the spear, if it comes up to the mark, you're able to cut it. Just cut it through like that.
So it's height that's important, not the thickness?
Yes, no, anything, it's just the right, correct height is good enough to cut.
Andy's farm stretches over 150 acres and produces up to 200 tonnes of asparagus a year, making it one of Norfolk's biggest growers. And there's only one more way for our buyers to experience the delights of this asparagus, and that's to taste some freshly harvested produce. All they'll need is a kitchen, some water, and 6 minutes later, it's done.
A little butter, very high in iron, folic acid, certainly one of your 5 a day. There we go, served and ready to go. Give it a try.
Lovely,
Eat it with your
thanks.
fingers.
Thanks.
Okay.
That is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Time to leave this fine Norfolk veg behind and get back to spearheading our own property hunt. For our second house, we're heading to Beeston, which is around 8 miles west of Dereham. But before we see the property, I want to introduce our buyers to a local resident who's been living in the village for the past 6 years. So just now on the outskirts of the village of Beeston.
Right.
Have you ever been here before?
No, never.
Right, well, it's got the pub in the village that you said you're after,
Yeah.
but it can also do one better, because it's also got a microbrewery. We're going to go
I'm
meet
all
the
right
owner. Mark, this is Sally and John.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Nice to meet you. Hello.
Hi.
What's the village like? Because that's what we're here really to find out.
A lot of good community around the church.
Great, so plenty to get involved in.
Yeah,
Then.
loads. Well-established cricket team, beautiful pitch.
Does the pub take your beer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they take bit, yeah.
So when the pub shuts you out at 11:30...
Crawl up here.
You got it. I think I've just found you 2 new customers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. See you again. Ta-da.
Cheers.
A short walk down the road is our second home, a single-storey brick and flint barn conversion. Somewhere I remember quoting that Norfolk was one of the driest places in the UK. Now, I think this is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
we arrive tidily at property number 2.
Looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Converted barns.
Barns, question marks, ceiling height.
Answer, should be no problem.
OK.
Yeah? Do you believe it? I mean, have you thought about living in a converted barn before?
We've looked at them previously.
Yeah.
Some of them were fantastic because they had the nice high ceilings.
Yeah.
And some of them were so low you felt like it was going down the mind.
Well, let's see what we think of this one. Let's get out of this way, shall we?
Okay.
So, a reserved reaction from John and Sally. As we move inside, let's hope the interior of the house warms them up. Come right in. Right then, in we come.
Oh, lovely. It's a good layout, isn't it?
Yes.
Very good layout and a nice size as well. Got a table in it.
Not a bad size. If you go
No.
right round to that corner...
Yeah. You can... Ah, right.
So it must
Yeah,
be
you
the
can see.
lounge then, is it? So it must be, yes.
Now, you're not so keen on that, are you?
No.
Because John likes a door on his kitchen.
OK, well, reserve judgment, because there
Yeah.
are options with this house.
OK.
All right? And one of these options couldn't be more separate from the kitchen, as it lies on the other side of the barn. So,
Oh,
Very nice.
right. Yeah, so this is definitely a much bigger room, isn't it?
And would be perfect for a living room.
what I thought was great about this room is you've got patio doors, you've got a
Yeah.
small patio there, heading out to the garden.
Yeah.
And it's a long way from that stinky curry you've cooked all day,
Indeed.
isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's got a nice feel. I love the view as well.
It surprised me when I first walked around this place. I thought, oh, where's this next room coming from? And then you see this lovely big...
Yeah.
It's a barn room, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it means that room next to the kitchen can be just
Oh,
a casual
definitely.
room.
It puts a totally different reflection on it, really.
Well, it seems John and Sally approve of this room, so things are definitely looking up. This spacious barn conversion has a fabulous mix of options. There's an office, 2 double bedrooms, one with ensuite, while the other double is currently being used as a music room. There's also a handy utility room and a single bedroom. But we'll take a look at the room that could be theirs. So the master, you've got a dressing room there,
Right.
and then a fairly compact bedroom itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with an ensuite. In fact, I'll come out your way.
All right.
Can I have a look
Oh, that's
through
good.
this?
Yeah.
go on.
It's a nice size.
But on top of this, next door, you've got a family bathroom.
Right. Okay.
At the moment, it seems rather dark. I'm not getting that nice airy feel. If it's a room you're likely to have the light on all the time.
It's not got those big, lovely Georgian windows.
Yeah.
I mean, converted barns, they've either got massive windows
Yeah.
where doorways were, barn doors were,
Yeah.
or they can be a little bit dark because they've got low windows
Yeah.
like this.
My feeling is it would just be, the room would just be full of bed,
OK.
which, wherever you've got other storage, I'm still not too keen on that.
I think.
All right, fair point. So it's a thumbs down from our buyers for this master. However, I'm certain that space won't be such a problem as we head into the garden. It's still spitting, but we'll brave it, shall we?
Okay.
So boundary-wise, post and rail fence
Yeah.
over to half of that pond,
Right.
the reveal of that fence.
All right. Good. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a nice big garden, haven't you, with beautiful views. No, that is very good.
Well, now you know the boundary, you've seen some of the rooms. You know, it's quite a big plot of accommodation, really.
Very much so.
Let's have a go at pricing it. Who wants to go first?
Do you want to go first this time?
I would say this would sit at the top of our budget, 425.
What do you think, Sally?
I'm not quite... No, I wouldn't go quite as far as I was going to say 399,950.
Right, OK.
399,950.
Well, he's spot on. £425,000 they're asking.
Yeah.
Which, bear in mind its location and the amount of accommodation you get, I can see why they're asking.
Oh,
Yeah,
very much
yeah.
so.
And it has been really nicely converted, but I think we've just got a few little things we would have in our mind about whether it would fit our lifestyle as it is.
Well, that's what you should do now, then.
Yeah.
Go back into the property,
Yeah.
have a good look around and see whether you could make those changes or whether it's maybe not for you.
OK?
All right, cool. Catch you in a moment. This lovely barn conversion is bang on budget at £425,000, and it offers John and Sally many of the items on their wish list. It has a light sitting room with patio doors, 4 double bedrooms including 2 with ensuite. It's full of exposed beams, wooden floors and high ceilings, and there's an extensive lawned garden with a duck pond.
Property 2, it was only when we started walking around the property that I realised it was in a U shape. That I thought, yeah, interesting. And once you get inside, you can see it's been a very nice property and very nicely converted.
I thought the kitchen was very nice and bright, nice and modern. Maybe a little bit smaller than we'd originally thought, but workable. I think it's been beautifully converted. I think it's very pretty, but I'm feeling at the moment that it doesn't quite fit our lifestyle. Perhaps 10 years ago it would have done, when the children were at home.
So you've seen everything you need to see now?
Yep, thank you, that was good. A good look round.
Right then, OK. Well, hopefully something to think about, or at least compare with the first property.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it for today, so let's
Okay,
go.
thanks.
As the sun settles and the rain clouds fade over Norfolk, our buyers get the chance to reflect on their first day of house hunting. With a budget of £425,000, John and Sally from Blackwater in Surrey are keen to swap the commuter belt for a home full of character in the Norfolk countryside. So far, we've shown them 2 fantastic properties. They loved the impressive Georgian home bursting with period features, but our second house, a barn conversion, didn't quite fit their new way of life.
My feeling is the room would just be full of bed.
So, can the mystery house deliver?
The views are just spectacular.
And I draw the short straw on a Norfolk roof.
Yeah, stick to your day job, mate.
I'm probably doing more harm than good here. Now, I think both properties yesterday matched up with the outline of John and Sally's search. But it's funny, it's only when you visit the properties with any couple you're working with do you find out more about their taste, maybe even what they're prepared to compromise on. Now, today, we're off to see the mystery house. Now, I'm reminding myself that John and Sally said at best they'd like a property with some land, maybe enough for a Shetland pony or a donkey, but they also want to be close to a community. And as you know, the mystery house can both giveth and taketh away. As we set off, I grab a quick moment with our buyers to find out what they're hoping for from today's mystery property. So, John, what would you like this property to be?
The ones we've seen so far haven't had much land, so if it's somewhere with a bit of land would be very nice.
Being in the middle of nowhere doesn't frighten you?
No.
No.
Being in the middle of a town?
No.
Right.
No.
Let's see then, shall we?
Yeah,
I'm taking John and Sally towards Shipdham, a village located in the heart of Norfolk. This is one of the largest villages in the county, yet still retains a lot of history and tradition. The earliest known reference to Shipdham was in the 11th century, soon after William the Conqueror's entry into Britain. However, it wasn't known as Shipdham back then, but as Thorpe, an Old Norse word for village. It has a range of amenities, including a pub and a local shop. John and Sally have stressed they want a property with a good bit of land, and I think the mystery house will deliver. But I'm not quite sure how they'll react to its much more rural location. So, the mystery house, and there's a whole lot of it.
wow, yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah, very different. Very different from the last two.
Well, this is 2 cottages, 2 farm workers' cottages,
Oh, right.
converted into one. And, in my opinion, converted very, very well.
That makes sense, doesn't it, with this location
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah. Do you like what you see?
Yeah, I do like what I see. Yeah.
Good. OK. Well, let's go inside.
OK.
So far, so good. Now, we haven't always had the best responses to the kitchens previously, but I think this next one is a winner. Right then, let's start in the kitchen, which I think you will like.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, definite winner.
This is lovely.
Oh, Very good.
That is very nice. Nice big table, nice room.
See, this is the reaction that's been missing all along then, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the kitchen?
For the kitchen.
Yeah.
Positive, you know what you like when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, this kitchen keeps coming round. Follow me.
Cool.
The kitchen's in 2 stages, as you can see. You know, this is the real working part of the kitchen. Does it work for you?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's good for us with utility room adjoining, and it's nice. We've got a dog, so it's quite nice to have this sort of flooring.
This house can give John and Sally everything they want, and as we continue our tour, I've got a feeling they're going to like more and more of what they see. So your separate living room is a decent size.
Very much
It
so.
is just the right size, I think. Not too big and not too cramped.
Good. So,
Nice.
all that's left now is the dining room, which can
Okay.
get you through that door, but also through this way as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Small ante room,
Yeah.
Doesn't have
that's
to be an
useful.
office.
No.
but then... That's all
Oh,
dining
this,
room.
this is good. Again, this is just the right size.
You want it reasonably large enough to, say, sit a half a dozen to a dozen people, and you can do it easily in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have to pinch myself. The reactions have been spot on. On this floor, there's also a cloakroom with a shower. And as we move upstairs, there are 5 bedrooms, which are all good sizes and have fabulous views over the East Anglian countryside. There's also a large family bathroom. Well, let's start with the master bedroom. I think it's rather nice.
Well, this is pretty. Look at
Very
the view.
nice.
That view's amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Very nice to wake up to.
The only problem is, of course, I don't think it would fit our bed.
No,
That's one thing I can't change.
No?
it wouldn't.
It wouldn't, definitely.
Unless it
That's a
overlaps.
shame.
Well, here's the thing. I'm thinking on my feet here now.
Yeah.
You have 5 bedrooms.
Right.
Okay? Right. It seems like a shame, a bit of a waste,
Yeah.
but you box in that alcove there.
You could easily, for storage.
Yeah.
You box in this alcove here, you put storage above it and an occasional
Yeah.
cupboard there, and then you
got
can
the
put a
width.
king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't need any of the other furniture in here because, open that door. Light switch just on the left there.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
With 5 bedrooms, you've got another dressing room available to you,
Yeah.
haven't
Yes.
you? You've got loads
Yeah.
of space here.
Yeah.
And this one is obviously en suite as well, which I'll have a peek
Yeah.
at later on.
Cool. Very nice.
So,
No,
Very
that's
positive
nice
story.
and light and airy.
Yeah.
well, look, I'm dying to show you outside,
Right.
and then perhaps you can come inside and discover the rest of the bedrooms.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mind your step just down
Yeah.
here, John. Well, maybe there was a slight hiccup due to the size of that bed of theirs, but there are plenty of solutions. And as we head outside, I can't wait to show them the stunning views across the fields. So, lovely, wide open garden with
Yeah.
views beyond.
Yeah.
That's an amazing view. It is. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, all in all, you're sat in around a 1 acre plot.
Right.
So now you've got to price it, haven't you?
It's a difficult one again.
How much do you think someone's going to pay for a 5-bedroom property set in an acre?
405 is what.
405, okay.
And I was going to say 439.
Not 950.
No, not 950.
439. Well, the asking price of this house is offers above £425,000.
Right.
Now, I've spoken to the owners personally, and they are looking to settle at around £435,000.
Right.
So you're not far away.
Yeah.
Well, look, why don't you go back inside the house and have a look? I mean, there's 5 bedrooms to have a look
Yeah.
at. Have a good look around the place, and then we'll take as long as you want. I mean,
Okay.
We're going to have a chat after.
Right. Thank you.
All right. A little bit surprised, actually. I was thinking, get them to the mystery house, show them the land, some of the fantastic accommodation inside, and then drive them to the estate agents. But oddly enough, maybe I'll be relying on one of the other 2 houses I showed them. We'll have to see. On the market for offers above £425,000, but with the owners hoping for around the £435,000 mark, the mystery house is slightly over budget. but it does offer John and Sally much of what they're after. It has a separate sitting room with wood burner, a bespoke wooden kitchen diner, 5 bedrooms, it's full of character including exposed beams, and it's located in an acre of land with unspoilt views over the Norfolk countryside.
Walking up to their mystery house, very impressive, and the ground floor worked very well for us.
When I first walked up, I was a bit worried how big it might be inside for us, but just the isolation and the countryside around it, just very impressive.
Right then, took a bit longer than normal, 5 bedrooms to have a look around, didn't it?
There's quite a lot to think about.
Yeah, indeed.
This
A
one.
lot to think about and a lot of information gathered.
Right, good. Let's find somewhere else to discuss it all.
Okay.
Here in Norfolk, the local reed found in coastal areas of the county has been used as a building material since Roman times. In fact, most properties were thatched throughout the region until Welsh slate became readily available with the spread of the railway network in the 19th century. Today, arguably, there's no greater symbol of the English countryside than the thatched cottage, and large efforts are made to preserve these wonderful examples of our architectural heritage. I've come to meet Master Thatcher Richard Horton to find out more about this historic craft. Morning, Richard. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you, yeah.
Now, I'm dying to find out a bit more about thatching,
OK.
and pretty much all about thatched roofs. So, Richard, what have we got here then?
This is Norfolk reed, and this is cut very locally, just up the road.
So, everything you're using so far
Is local.
is local. How local? How far is this
How
travelled?
local? This has come literally 2 miles up the road to Somerton.
Right. Anything I could have a go at?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah,
Good.
come up and have a look.
The thatching technique has changed very little over the years, and there's a steady call for expert thatchers with over 100 registered throughout England. Right then, what's the process then?
OK, Johnny, we've finished this course, so we need to pin another course of reed over the top of this course. What I do with a bunch of reed is bang it down on the scaffold dip.
Right.
That's it.
So underarm.
Under your arm. That's it. Make sure all the ends are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then form it at an angle.
Oh, so it's already taking that shape, isn't
So it's
it?
already taken that shape.
Yeah.
OK. Pop that on the roof. Yeah, that's it. I'd say here. And then pin that with 2 old thatching hooks just above the string, side of the bar. And then one in the left. That will hold the bunch temporary until the temporary sway will come across.
Thatch is laid in what's known as stalches, which are in effect columns of straw. This method ensures that the thickness is consistent, and in general, a new thatch will add an additional 12 inches of cover.
And then cut the string. And then put your hand on the temporary sway, and then tap that left to right, and then the bunch will start to form on the roof.
Ah, it's taking shape, isn't it?
Yeah. If you hold immediately above where you're working, and then tap. Have a go at that, Johnny.
I mean, for me, I don't do it every day. It's quite therapeutic. Originally made with wood and horseshoe nails, this simple device allows the thatcher to create the characteristic angle of thatched roofs that have come to symbolise rural Britain. So the rain is only ever going to hit these bits, really?
Yeah. Just the first 1.5 inches, and it will only penetrate in 1/2 inch.
You can see why this works so well as a roofing system, because it's perfect drainage, isn't it?
Perfect
It's
drainage.
designed
You've
to
got-
get rid of the moisture and
you've got
embrace it, isn't it?
Great insulation as well. Stick to your day job, mate.
I know, yeah. I'm making holes everywhere. I'm probably doing more harm than good here and probably put you back about a day. But it's been really, really interesting. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
I'll leave you with your weapon. See you later, Axel. Well, I now feel a lot more informed to talk about the merits of a thatched house. Time to catch up with our buyers to see if they like any of the 3 properties we've shown them. Well, the first property we went to was a style that you'd never even considered, a
No.
Georgian property.
Yep.
What were your thoughts when we first walked up to the outside, John?
I like the basic symmetry of it, like the walled garden, and it was a very attractive property to walk up to.
I mean, the only compromise initially that I could see from your point of view, Sally, was I think you were hoping for a slightly larger kitchen.
Hoping ideally, but I think it was a manageable kitchen. It's just if there was enough storage space.
OK.
And I think that could be worked around.
All right.
Yeah.
Pretty good start. In the afternoon, we went to, well, a barn conversion, which I think initially you might have had reservations about.
I was expecting to see a barn conversion because I think there are a lot in Norfolk and we've looked previously at barn conversions.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was beautiful. I did have some reservations. I wasn't sure whether it was two barns and whether we would be sharing the garden and the courtyard. So I think that was my reservation.
Yeah.
From the outside, I immediately thought it was a semi-detached barn. Once I got in, very nice property inside, but the configuration didn't quite come to what we wanted it to be.
All right. Well, the first two properties on day one, both in villages. For the mystery property, we wanted to show you something very different.
Yeah.
Which it was.
Which it was. You know, I wouldn't say in the middle of nowhere, but the nearest village was, what, 3 miles away?
Yes.
You had pretty good initial reactions when you first saw the
Yes.
property, didn't you?
It was beautiful. It was a lovely, substantial property. You couldn't fault the setting in the fields with nothing else around it apart from countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive indeed.
And I remember when we walked in, the first room we walked into, the kitchen, John, you walked in, you said, yeah.
Yeah. I tend to look at things and think, right, does it tick the boxes for me? And that primarily ticked the boxes we were looking for as far as the kitchen was concerned.
But upstairs, you seemed to cool somewhat. Is that right?
I think that we would have to start doing some work in that we would want a bigger bathroom. So we probably want to start converting one bedroom to a
Okay.
bathroom.
Right.
And then it sort of starts not quite to fit exactly what we wanted.
So, what's the next step?
We're going to have a look in the area which the first property was in, and then generally have a look around some of the villages in Norfolk to get a better feel of the area.
So more investigation with, what, an eye on the first place?
Yeah, we want to walk around the village.
All right, well, look, maybe have another viewing as well, but I wish you the best of luck in your investigations.
Thank you.
But no matter what you decide on, do please let us know what you want to do.
No, thank you.
Well, a bit of a damp end to our time here in Norfolk, but by the sounds of it, could be brighter weather on the horizon for John and Sally. That Georgian house, well, I think Sally was really surprised they could even afford a property like that within their budget. And she fell in love with the place from as soon as she set eyes on it. But I have a sneaky suspicion John still remains to be convinced. So, another visit to the area is a fantastic idea, especially if it includes a visit to their local pub, because that's right at the heart of a community that they want to be involved in. So, I'm sure like me, you wish them both the very best of luck. See you next time. John and Sally did go back to see the first house and had a good chat with the owners. But after careful consideration, they decided that the garden was too small and didn't offer enough privacy. If you would like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.